imagine sacrificing your entire career for a single moral decision? The reggae legend who introduced the world to Jamaica's revolutionary sound almost lost everything because he dared to perform where others wouldn't. This is the story of an artist who spent 3 nights in an African prison, framed by a stranger, and whose controversial choices nearly erased him from music history. Jimmy Cliff's journey isn't just about creating timeless hits. It's about a rebel who refused to be contained by anyone's expectations and the shocking price he paid for his independence. From a hurricane birth that his mother swore was magical to becoming the only living reggae musician to hold Jamaica's highest honor, James Chambers has lived a life that reads like the most unbelievable script ever written. But behind those timeless hits, like Many Rivers to Cross, and The Harder They Come, lies a trail of controversies, religious transformations, and career-ending decisions that nearly erased him from music history. Born on July 30th, 1944, in Somerton District, St. James, Jamaica, during a devastating hurricane, Jimmy Cliff's entrance into this world was anything but ordinary. His mother, caught in the storm, gave birth with only one midwife tending to the entire village. As the hurricane literally blew their house away, she wrapped her newborn in a sheet and took shelter at a neighbor's home. Years later, Cliff would describe this moment as pure magic, setting the tone for a life that would defy every expectation. Growing up as James Chambers, he was the 9th of 10 children in a working-class Pentecostal family. While still at primary school, he began writing songs and listening to his neighbor's sound system, already showing signs of the musical genius that would change the world. But at 14, young James made a decision that would alter his destiny forever. He convinced his father to take him to Kingston, where he would reinvent himself as Jimmy Cliff.
I believe everybody has talent, but it's a matter of willpower and determination.
In Kingston, the ambitious teenager sought out producers while still attending school, desperately trying to get his songs recorded. Most doors slammed in his face, but Cliff had a persistence that bordered on obsession.
1962, Orange Street, Kingston, Jamaica. I sang my song for Leslie Kong. He said, "Let's go record it in the style of ska."
One night, as he walked past a record store and restaurant that was closing, he literally pushed himself inside and convinced one of the owners, Leslie Kong, to enter the recording business, starting with him as the first artist.
I sang, and then that was it. And Leslie Kong became the producer for me until he passed away.
After 2 singles that flopped completely, everything changed when Hurricane Hattie became a massive hit.
I'll be like Hurricane Hattie.
Cliff was just 17 years old, and suddenly Jamaica knew his name. Working with Kong, who became both mentor and father figure, Cliff pumped out local hits including King of Kings,
I'm King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Dearest Beverly,
Can't do without you, Beverly.
Miss Jamaica,
You're my Miss Jamaica.
and Pride and Passion.
She hurt my feelings.
But this was just the beginning of a journey that would take him to heights most artists only dream of, and depths that would nearly destroy him. By 1965, Chris Blackwell of Island Records recognized Cliff's potential and convinced him to move to London. This decision would prove both brilliant and traumatic. In London, Cliff was forced to alter his Jamaican patois to fit the cosmopolitan ambitions of the label, a cultural sacrifice that left deep scars. He spent 4 grueling years in England, struggling to find his identity while being molded into something more palatable for international audiences. The breakthrough came in 1969 with Wonderful World, Beautiful People, which reached number 6 in Britain and number 25 in the US. Paul Simon himself cited this album as what prompted him to investigate reggae music. But success came with a price. Cliff was becoming disconnected from his Jamaican roots, and the tension was building toward an explosion. In 1971, tragedy struck when Leslie Kong, Cliff's producer and closest mentor, died suddenly of a heart attack at the pinnacle of both of their careers. The loss devastated Cliff emotionally and professionally. Kong had been more than a producer. He was the father figure who understood Cliff's vision. This tragedy set the stage for the most important and controversial period of Cliff's life.
In 1971, a new era began with The Harder They Come, telling where reggae music came from.
Enter Perry Hensel, a Jamaican director with an ambitious vision. The first full-length feature film shot in Jamaica by a Jamaican director with a fully Jamaican cast. The Harder They Come would cast Cliff as Ivanhoe Martin, updating the tale of Reagan.
Depends on what.
If you're a true Christian, the rest of boys too rude.
A legendary Jamaican gangster who terrorized police during the 1940s, recast as an aspiring ghetto singer of the reggae era. The film's plot mirrored Cliff's own journey in eerie ways. A country youth arriving in Kingston with dreams of musical stardom, only to face exploitation and betrayal in the music industry. While Cliff avoided taking up the gun, unlike many of his ghetto peers, he had lived through similar tribulations arriving in Kingston as a green youth who knew virtually no one in the capital. The soundtrack to The Harder They Come changed everything. Half of the album's tracks were performed by Jimmy Cliff, including 3 songs that became reggae standards. You Can Get It If You Really Want,
You can get it if you really want.
the anthemic The Harder They Come,
And then the harder they come, the harder they fall.
and the hymn-like Many Rivers to Cross.
Many rivers I've crossed.
The film and soundtrack served as a primer on reggae music for international audiences, introducing the world to Jamaica's revolutionary sound. But success brought unexpected consequences. As reggae exploded internationally, Jimmy Cliff found himself in a bitter dispute with Island Records. Chris Blackwell, focused on building Bob Marley's career, decided to put Cliff's career on hold to nurture other artists. The man who had introduced reggae to the world was suddenly being pushed aside for the very genre he helped create. Frustrated and feeling betrayed, Cliff made a series of decisions that would define the rest of his career. He left Island Records and embarked on a spiritual journey that took him far from the reggae mainstream. First, he briefly joined the Rastafari movement, but quickly moved on. Then came his conversion to Islam, specifically joining the Nation of Islam led by Elijah Muhammad, taking the name El Hajj Naim Bashir. This religious transformation coincided with the musical evolution that confused and alienated many fans. Albums like Unlimited, House of Exile, and Follow My Mind featured strong tracks like Fundamental Reggae
This is fundamental reggae.
and Number 1 Rip-Off Man,
You dirty rip-off man.
a direct attack on Chris Blackwell. But Cliff's versatility made these albums difficult to categorize. European audiences were nonplussed, and his commercial momentum stalled. The most controversial period of Cliff's career began in 1980 when he made a decision that would haunt him for decades. He agreed to tour South Africa during the height of apartheid. The anti-apartheid cultural boycott was in full effect, with most international artists refusing to perform in the racist regime. But Cliff, following his own moral compass, decided to play for mixed audiences in Soweto, performing before 55,000 people of all races. His reasoning was revolutionary. He believed music could break down racial barriers.
Wherever there is tyranny and injustice, reggae music is there, standing up for the right and as a true light.
And in many ways, he was right. Nelson Mandela himself later told Cliff that Jamaican music had helped overthrow apartheid. But the international backlash was severe. Many in the music industry branded him a sellout, and the controversy damaged his reputation for years. During this period, Cliff also traveled extensively in Africa, where his experiences would be both triumphant and traumatic. In Nigeria, what should have been a hero's welcome turned into a nightmare. Thousands of fans lined the streets from the airport to his hotel, giving him the kind of reception usually reserved for the Beatles. But then, disaster struck. A man approached, claiming to have had a contract with Cliff in London that was violated. Based on this accusation alone, Nigerian authorities threw Cliff in jail for 3 nights. When the case finally went to court, there was no evidence whatsoever. The entire thing was a setup. The singer was released, but the incident left him shaken and wary of the music industry's dark side. There are claims that other top musicians like Bob Marley, Diana Ross, and Michael Jackson avoided Nigeria specifically because of Jimmy Cliff's incident. The reggae pioneer who had opened doors for so many others found himself being used as a cautionary tale. Throughout the 1980s, Cliff continued evolving spiritually and musically. He shifted from Islam to Buddhism, then to Hinduism, studying in Indian ashrams and exploring every major world religion and philosophy. In a 2021 interview, he revealed the extent of his spiritual journey. From Christianity, Western political concept, Rastafarian, Black Muslim, Islam, Buddhism, Marxism, Judaism, Hinduism, and the way of life of the indigenous peoples of the planet, I dived into them all, ending up knowing that all these concepts and philosophies actually originated with my ancestors. By the mid-1980s, Cliff had found new commercial success through unlikely collaborations. His work with Kool and the Gang resulted in the worldwide smash, Reggae Night.
Reggae night, we come together.
While Bruce Springsteen covered his song Trap, giving it massive exposure when it was included on the 1985 We Are the World benefit album.
The world must come together as one.
His album Cliffhanger won the Grammy Award for Best Reggae Album.
Now and forever, once and for all.
Proving he could still create meaningful music despite the controversies. The 1990s brought a career renaissance when Cliff's cover of Johnny Nash's I Can See Clearly Now
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone.
for the movie Cool Runnings became a top 20 hit. Suddenly, a new generation discovered the reggae pioneer, and his reputation began to recover from the apartheid tour controversy. But Cliff's talents extended far beyond music into the world of acting. His filmography began with his starring role in The Harder They Come.
It took me 3 weeks to fix the bicycle, no longer. I paid $6 for the wheels alone.
But he continued building his acting resume throughout the years. He later appeared in Club Paradise, 1986.
This is just the beginning, man. We know too much now. We got the best beach on the island, and they know it.
Alongside Robin Williams and Peter O'Toole, showcasing his acting range in a Hollywood production. His role in Marked for Death, 1990, with Steven Seagal, demonstrated his versatility, while his contributions to various film soundtracks proved he could seamlessly blend his musical and acting careers. By 2010, the music industry finally acknowledged what had been obvious for decades. Jimmy Cliff was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, joining Bob Marley as one of only 2 Jamaican reggae artists to receive this honor.
Wyclef Jean presented the award, declaring Cliff's massive influence on global music culture.
To the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Godfather, Jimmy Cliff.
But Cliff's rebellious nature couldn't be contained. In 2007, the British Conservative Party adopted You Can Get It If You Really Want It for their annual conference without his permission. When confronted, Cliff made his political stance crystal clear.
I can't stop them using the song, but I'm not a supporter of politics. I have heard of Cameron, but I'm not a supporter. I don't support any politician. I just believe in right or wrong. His personal life has been carefully guarded throughout his career, but what we do know reveals a man committed to family values despite his globetrotting lifestyle. Cliff is married to a woman of Moroccan, French, and Jamaican heritage, and together they have 2 children, daughter Lilty Cliff and son Akeem Cliff. He's also the father of actress/singer Nabia Bey from a previous relationship. Family has become increasingly important to Cliff as he's aged, with him stating first family and then career as his guiding principle. His spiritual journey has remained as unconventional as ever. In a shocking 2021 interview, Cliff completely renounced his earlier conversion to Islam, claiming it didn't satisfy my soul. He now describes himself as having a universal outlook on life and doesn't align with any particular religion, saying, "Now I believe in science." However, he's expressed a strong affinity with the religious and intellectual knowledge of ancient Egypt, claiming that all world religions actually originated with his ancestors. In recent years, Cliff has also become surprisingly vocal about conspiracy theories, expressing skepticism about government handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and promoting alternative theories about ancient civilizations. This has raised eyebrows among fans who remember his more straightforward social commentary from earlier decades. Musically, Cliff made a triumphant return in 2022 with his first album in over a decade, Refugees. The 13-track album featured collaborations with his daughter Lil T. Cliff on the powerful track Racism.
No one wins the race in racism.
And reunited him with Wyclef Jean on the title track.
Refugees seeking to be free.
The album addressed contemporary issues including immigration, social justice, and the refugee crisis, proving that at 78 years old, Cliff still had something relevant to say about the world's problems. The Refugees album was particularly significant as it showed 3 generations of the Cliff family working together. His collaboration with daughter Lil T on Racism was especially moving, with Lil T explaining, "Jimmy is a man who has always stayed true to his beliefs. I think Racism is a song that really shows what the whole Refugees album is about, which is unity and tolerance." In a monumental announcement that sent shockwaves through the music world, in 2025, Jimmy Cliff officially confirmed both a brand new studio album titled Legacy and his final world tour. Scheduled for release in September 2025, Legacy is described as a celebration of the path I've walked, the struggles we faced, and the light that reggae brings to the world. The album will blend classic reggae rhythms with contemporary influences and feature both international stars and up-and-coming Jamaican talent. The announcement of his final tour has created a bittersweet moment for reggae fans worldwide. This farewell tour represents the end of an era, the last chance to see the man who introduced reggae to the world perform his catalog of timeless hits. At 81 years old, Cliff shows no signs of slowing down creatively, but acknowledges that the physical demands of touring may soon become too much. Currently, Jimmy Cliff's estimated net worth sits at approximately $18 million, accumulated through his decade-spanning music career, album sales, concert tours, royalties from his iconic songs, and his acting appearances in films like The Harder They Come and Club Paradise.
Oh, I don't have time for politics, man. Business is going to be so good from now on.
While substantial, this figure reflects the reality that many pioneering reggae artists didn't reap the full financial benefits of their cultural impact due to the music industry's historical exploitation of Jamaican musicians.
Cliff's ongoing influence on contemporary artists spans multiple generations and genres. The Clash's reference to him in Guns of Brixton, which he later covered on his Grammy-winning Rebirth album, showed how punk rockers revered his rebellious spirit. Bruce Springsteen's cover of Trapped introduced Cliff to American heartland rock audiences, while collaborations with artists like Sting, Annie Lennox, and the Rolling Stones proved his cross-genre appeal. Modern reggae and dancehall artists still cite Cliff as a primary influence, particularly his fearless approach to controversial subjects and his refusal to be boxed into any single musical or spiritual category. His impact on film cannot be ignored either. The Harder They Come remains one of the most culturally significant movies ever to come out of Jamaica, inspiring countless other musicians to pursue acting careers. Today, Jimmy Cliff remains the only living reggae musician to hold Jamaica's Order of Merit, the highest honor that can be granted by the Jamaican government. This recognition, combined with his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, cements his status as both a musical pioneer and cultural ambassador for Jamaica. Despite being in his 80s, Cliff maintains an active creative schedule. He's expressed that he feels he hasn't completed what he's meant to do on this planet, stating, "I have to say what I have to say and do what I have to do via music and films." This ongoing passion suggests fans can expect him to remain creatively active even after his final tour concludes. The man who survived apartheid boycotts, religious transformations, industry betrayals, and decades of controversy has emerged as reggae's elder statesman. His willingness to break rules, challenge expectations, and speak truth to power helped establish reggae not just as a musical genre, but as a vehicle for social change and spiritual expression. From that hurricane birth in Somerton to becoming reggae's global ambassador, Jimmy Cliff proved that authenticity and artistic integrity can triumph over commercial pressures and industry politics. His story serves as both inspiration and warning, showing what's possible when an artist refuses to compromise their vision while revealing the personal cost of such unwavering independence.